Hello Internet, Brian here for Work to Game Videos, and with 2017 right around the corner, I wanted to bring you my 2016 year in review for Final Fantasy XIV. This will be my first year in review, so let me know in the comments below what you liked about this style of video, as well as maybe what you didn't like. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Also, this comes from a lifetime fan of the series, and a longtime fan of this game. I've played since 1.0, so needless to say, I'm biased. As well as, maybe since I played since day one, perhaps a little crazy? I don't know, I'll let you be the judge. Final Fantasy XIV is my MMO of choice, and if you were to ask me if you should start playing this game today, I would respond enthusiastically, yes, you should. And you should also bring your friends with you. This game, as well as any MMO, are at their best when you can play with your friends, or even make new ones in-game. And 2016 introduced us to new systems like the Palace of the Dead, which allows new and old players alike to be able to team up and enjoy the game without the need for new players to have completed the main story of the game. Okay, so let's talk about social features. The link shell system as well as the free company system didn't really see too many improvements or adjustments this year, which was disappointing, and really needed in the long run. While at the same time the Palace of the Dead was introduced to allow new players to level up independently of the game and to really try out a job to see if they like it relatively easy or not. Plus it allows friends who are already level 60 to group up with those new friends and even progress together to help them level and getting tomes themselves. So it felt like you were able to make progress regardless of whether you're new or old. And perhaps the best introduction this year was that of the report from chat feature, which pretty much has eliminated the constant stream of direct tell messages that you would get from a guild farmer. So, social features, verdict, improving, but not perfect. Okay, so now let's talk about gear. The glamour system in the game fully negates any major complaint that you could have with the gear in the game. But I'm looking at new gear that was introduced in 2016. There are some really nice pieces here, but I find myself glamoring gear from 2.0 more than anything. And this in and of itself is the one issue I take in this area. They did improve the ease of glamours in 2016 by revamping the different grades of prisms, which from an inventory perspective is nice, but we didn't see much improvement overall. I'm hoping 2017 and or 4.0 will do a lot more to improve upon the needed quality of life features that would make glamours easier to manage. But all in all, it's a solid system that works as expected. The issue I have with the gear introduced in 2016 is that it's not memorable or that it's all that exciting. I did not like the primal gear that was introduced, as much as I tried to like it. But on the other hand, I did like the Weeping City gear. Each person's going to have their own opinion on this matter, but it's time for my verdict. So gear, forgettable, but needs improvement. And I'm sure that we're going to see it in 2017. Alright, let's talk about the story. 2017 saw three major patches to move the story forward. Patch 3.2, The Gears of Change. Patch 3.3, Revenge of the Horde. And Patch 3.4, Soul Surrender. And for all of this, I was pleased with the progression of the story and what we learned of the world of Final Fantasy XIV. With the conclusion of the Dragon Song War with 3.3, I felt that the way the Warriors of the Darkness were actually rushed off the stage in Patch 3.4 was a bit too quick. I was hoping for them to be more of a presence in the world and the story up to that point, but that would be my only one issue. It leads me to hope that with 3.5 and 3.55 in early 2017, that we will see it build to a greater threat. But with seeing Minfilia again, especially in patch 3.2, but with the different role, with the ending of the Dragon Song War, and with being worried that Sir Emmerich was going to get poisoned in that one cutscene, the game and the story was very enjoyable. So my verdict, solid, but we need a better antagonist. Okay, so let's talk about gameplay. The core of the game is the same as when it started, but here's where Final Fantasy XIV shines in my book. It's fun and I love how the game plays at level 50 and level 60, but what stands out to me is some of the simple adjustments to jobs and the introduction of the ground targeting macros that allow you to auto-place any ground target AoE at the foot of enemies was just perfection. It changed my favorite job to play to Dark Knight and to Summoner, and just made my life easy to sit back and enjoy the game. The job adjustments to Astrologian were also very nice and needed. But this is just a simple addition in my book to make it all worthwhile. Those of you out there wanting faster combat will be disappointed, but major system changes like that are best saved for an expansion. For what you can do in a patch cycle, I've been happy with. Verdict? The right adjustments? Depending on the job you play. Okay, let's talk about content. Here's where I have a mixed bag of tricks. Only having 2 dungeons in the Expert Roulette hurts this game. And by the time a new patch comes out, we are so burnt out from flipping a coin that we don't want to see those dungeons again. It keeps me from going back to the regular 60 roulette. I have also been finding that dungeons are really all that unimpressive. They are visually impressive and some of the mechanics out there are interesting, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what is missing. It could just be that we're only getting 2 per patch and I'm feeling a little burned out. But there is a lot I want to see them do in this game and in the future. And I would love to see something like an 8-man dungeon or more 8-man dungeons and varied content along these lines. But that wasn't introduced this year. On the positive side, we got Wanderer's Tales, which I think stands out as a highlight of patch 3.4. And in my opinion, having to go back to older content and clear it or help others clear it has been fun. More fun than I actually expected, and collecting the stamps is also pretty fun, if not frustrating when you're so close to getting 3 lines. But the game has a lot of content, and being able to challenge it with 4 people unsynced and help people get their clears is both a rewarding and entertaining experience. I really enjoyed finishing the Alexander raid in 3.4, and Weeping City was both challenging and visually fun. So there's a lot to like about the content in 2016. It's varied, and it keeps all players in mind. As an avid player, I will always want more. But this is why I play an MMO, because they continue to give me more. On the PvP front, we got the Feast, and we got Duels, which the Feast is a lot of fun, and hopefully we're going to see Duels move out of the Wolf's Den, but it gives that competitive community some more things to do. Frontlines is also fun, but the long queue times keep it from being a daily activity for me at this point. But future adjustments should help address and fix that issue. A solid year for PvP though, good and varied content. So my verdict, some of the most varied content, but enjoyment is mixed. We need more. We will always need more. Okay, so let's talk about quality of life. 2016 seems to be a solid year for quality of life adjustments, from apartments being able to help address some of those housing issues that we've always had since the beginning, to different features like the jukebox and collecting the scrolls, which I didn't really much care for an aquarium, but it's cool that we have that type of solid investment in that kind of system. As well as the ability to capture screenshots and all the additions that they've introduced there. There's a lot of features that have been introduced in 2016. And there's still a lot of features that I want. I'm not going to knock it too hard because I'm no longer getting spammed by tell messages to buy Gil, and the Raid Finder seems like a solid addition. And I hope that we will continue to see more of this brought into 2017. So my verdict is going to be solid. They are listening, and I feel like it's only a matter of time before X feature that I'm interested in is addressed. So now let's talk overall. Final Fantasy XIV played it safe in 2016, but Yoshi P did set the expectation of that. He stated the 3.0 series is really going to only have 2 dungeons introduced with each patch, so setting the expectations really did help a lot, even though I still would have preferred more. But the game played it safe. Palace of the Dead has been a solid addition. There are those with mixed feelings, as it does promote a different style of play that is different from that of the main game. So some players do feel that players don't learn how to play their job correctly for it, but that's still going to be player to player at the moment. Alexander finally got interesting and it had a solid payoff, and the story had, its conclusion with 3.3 and is now getting ramped up to take us into the expansion. But when you have a year without an expansion, perhaps it is best to play it safe and work on the big ideas for the following year. We had a lot of new content introduced, and while it might not all appeal to you, it seems that the game is working to cater to a wide audience. I hope that with 4.0, we will see more of what the game offers to everyone. You might not like everything, but there is something out there for you to enjoy. That being said, there are things that I would have done differently in 2016. and there are things that Yoshi P talked about for a long time that we are still waiting to see. Some of that falls into early 2017, which is exciting, but 2016 as a whole has been like an inhale, getting ready for the next year, an expansion year, which will bring new players and returning players back into the fold. But for 2016, we had a solid year, and you can't knock the game for being consistently good. But we are waiting, still waiting, for next year. So my verdict, it's solid and consistently good, but not as satisfying an expansion. Still needs more quality of life, more content, to satisfy an ever-hungry crowd. So that's my Final Fantasy XIV 2016 year in review. I hope that you liked this video, and if so, hit that like button. It really helps us out. As well as let me know in the comments below what your overall impressions of 2016 are, and if there are any major features or quality of life adjustments that stand out that I missed. Tell me what you loved, what you hated, or both. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you, returning subscriber, if you are one. We're really glad to have you here. But for Work to Game, my name is Brian, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Take care.